You're welcome. I appreciate all of the assistance and feedback as I sort this out. Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Spirited Healing Academy. I am Reverend Michelle Scrimsher Brown, and it is truly my pleasure to welcome you all here today. Here at the Spirited Healing Academy, we are an assembly of people who will teach each other to find the miracle of joyful living from life circumstance to accomplish that which seems impossible. And our intention with these gatherings is to stimulate thought, create connection, and expand consciousness. Sounds such a big deal, doesn't it? But really, in the simplest of terms, my purpose with these gatherings is just for us to have a safe place to talk about deep stuff. That's really what that intention means for me, a safe place to talk about deep stuff. So we're getting ready to start. And as we always do, we're going to begin with our opening intention. So I'm just going to take a moment here to mute all of our live participants. There we go. And now I'm going to share my screen and we can all say the words of our opening intention together. May I come to understand that blessings are everywhere, that my attitude will affect outcomes, that challenges are often gifts in disguise. May I come to trust that most things can get better with time, that my instincts and gut feelings have value, and that a positive attitude makes things go smoother. May I come to see that I have many skills and talents I can use, that I am a positive influence on many people, that there are those who wish me well. May I come to value that today is a blessing to be enjoyed, that each person is unique and important, and that each moment of my life has meaning. So, last week, our discussion began with this lovely little topic here, the 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. And we discussed the first and second agreement, the first being to be impeccable with your word. Speak with integrity. Say only what you mean. Avoid using the word to speak against yourself or to gossip about others. Use the power of your word in the direction of truth and love. And the second agreement was a reminder. Do not take anything personally. Nothing others do is because of you. What others say and do is a projection of their own reality, their own dream. When you are immune to the opinions and actions of others, you won't be the victim of needless suffering. Now, before we take a look at number 3, I wanted to check in with you and see if any of you had a different kind of week with this awareness in your mind about saying what you mean clearly and effectively. And did you do a good job of not taking things personally?
I did. Me, hello.
Hi, Mervette.
Hi. I look like a bum because I didn't, do my hair. But anyways, I did actually. I found myself deleting text messages to reword it. Or just
interesting.
That was my experience of because I'm really going more into, I'm taking a manifestation workshop, which I always believe more breeds more. So I love teaching manifestation and I love learning about manifestation. And if I could get even one teeny tiny nugget, then, it's a win, right? And it's a great reminder all the time, which, that's why we're here, right? To always continuously just become more in depth and, there's always layers of uncovering. But yeah, it's really about intention, right? Like manifestation is all about intention, and your words hold power in the way that you think, and you want to change your vibrational level to be a point of attraction. And so if I say things like, oh, I'm so stupid or whatever, I'll just wait, I don't want that to be a thing. And I don't know why, but I always feel like if I type it out, it's not real yet. it's not until I send it that it's really out there. So I'm allowed to
Interesting, eh?
delete it, and edit. So that is something I have been consciously doing this week, and taking myself, and this is kind of like an add-on, I guess, removing myself from things where it's like, I don't actually want to hear this stuff all the time.
Right.
So I am choosing to just mute it for a little while and see what changes, and to clear my own energy. But it kind of goes with this, but it can be hard to stop engaging. I find that to be challenging in the past. So I'm getting better and better every day.
It is true though, right? Like, it's one thing to know what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
And it's another thing to actually do what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
And it's all fine and well to have intentions, but you have to actually have action that's in alignment with those intentions.
Yeah, completely. Yeah. And so as I work through that, then that has been my change so far.
Yeah. Wonderful. Well, thank you for sharing. Does anybody else have anything they want to share about their week? Or shall we go on to number 3?
I have been working on that step number 1 for a long time. Slow and steady, I know I've progressed, but sometimes it's 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. Anyway, I found I was much stronger this week in speaking authentically.
Oh, good job.
Yes, and not having any adverse emotion attached to the things I was saying, which is a huge step for me.
That feels a little bit like a miracle, right? Like when we're not only managing how we respond to information, we're not only managing how we speak and present our information, and we're observing our emotions around a reaction.
Yes.
To understand more about what is this reaction telling me about me.
Right.
Yeah.
So I made some progress in that regard. I'm very happy about that.
That is wonderful. All right. Well, thank you, friends, for your sharing. Let's get on with affirmation number 3. Not affirmation. You know what I mean? The agreement number 3. Oh, this one. I see, Mom, you're rolling your eyes so hard you gave yourself whiplash. Okay, so number 3 says, don't make assumptions. Find the courage to ask questions and to express what you really want. Communicate with others as clearly as you can to avoid misunderstandings, sadness, and drama. With just this one agreement, you can completely transform your life. Man, we love us some assumptions, eh? I'll take a main course serving of assumptions with a side of made up narrative.
There you go.
Man. Nobody has any comments here? Okay.
I think you can really demonize someone in our heads, in our mind's eye, completely, and be like, oh, they probably think this. That's why they didn't say anything. That's why they were with me. They're being a bitch, right? Like, just whatever. Like, they're attacking me. It's probably because I did, ABC, and that wasn't my intention. And I, in the past, have had some not so great experiences at keeping a dialogue in my head. And then whenever something happens again with this person, right back to the dialogue that I always And
That's the problem with a narrative, right? It never goes away. It's like you're writing a book. It's always, the book is always there for you to pick up your pen and continue with that story.
oh, it's so frustrating. Like this
Well,
particular.
I want to jump in for a minute, because what I find most interesting is that I've given that analogy of picking up the pen and continuing the book. The story isn't about my interaction with that same person. The narrative I'm picking up is about what I think of me. Right? So, Mervat, you said this person hasn't answered. Obviously, they're mad at me. Something's gone on. So the underlying message is I don't matter, or I'm broken, or I'm not worthy, or I'm not. There's some piece of, and we hide that under the no. I know what I deserve, and what she's doing right now is not what I deserve.
No,
But if we get so triggered by it, it's the law of reflection. If we're so triggered by it, it's telling us, oh yeah, we do actually believe that this is what we deserve.
it's funny. 100%. I already know what the problem is that I'm done with that space.
Right.
I'm done with that, like, and I'm keeping it alive.
Right.
I'm continuously going back. And I know that, and then everything in the space is pushing me out, like, okay, it's really time for you to go. But I keep going back, and I am fully
maybe not. I want a little bit more pain and suffering.
Yeah. Just bring it on. My shoulders are huge. Yeah, like I'm fully.
Look at this bruise.
Yeah. If anyone can hold the shit, people, it's right here, But like I already know. It's just more and more of an affirmation to me.
You think you know. And maybe you do know, but the very first line here after the third agreement, which says don't make assumptions, is find the courage to ask questions and express what you really want. This week I had some strange text interaction, and I was really confused about how the text came to pass. So I answered the question that was asked, and then I said, is there a reason why you texted this? Because I was telling myself a story, right? This person's stirring the pot. This person's trying to get me in trouble. I don't understand why this is happening the way it's happening. But I recognized I was telling myself a story that had no basis in reality. And so I just simply asked, is there a reason why you texted me this question?
Yes,
just gain some clarity. Just gain some insight. Interrupt that narrative. Because the reality is you only know what you know, and you don't know the whole story. You just know your part of it.
That's right.
Yeah, it does take courage to ask those questions, because sometimes you want to be right, and you want to you think you already know. Like we make these big, I think as humans, we're just so quick to judge and label things and know things, and people are giving what we expect from them, and we think, if we can't change our expectations or ask those questions, we're just going to keep getting exactly what we expect.
Totally. We're doomed. By the way, it's so lovely to see you here again, Mike. Hi.
Yeah, no, I had a few weeks where I was
having a great summer.
Yeah, it's been good. Yeah. This word too, I think everybody has seen what happens when you assume or you take the word assume. It makes an ass out of you and me. Yes. So as soon as I hear that, it's like, okay, that jumps out at me too. So, but yeah, it does take courage to try to ask a different question or really figure out what you want, because then you can start having the power to make some changes, or maybe to understand.
Make a really interesting point, that comment about figure out what you want. So the next sentence, he says, communicate with others as clearly as you can to avoid misunderstanding, sadness, and drama. How many of us, show of hands, and those of you who have your cameras off, there is a reaction button. You can put up a hand. How many of us, show of hands, know people who we are sure love drama? Right? Like, I think everybody's hands are up. We're sure that they're committed to, oh, they're just so bored if there isn't drama in their life.
Yep.
Now, Mike, what you said was figure out what you really want. So if I'm aware that I think that person wants drama, the question I have to ask myself is, firstly, is that true? And maybe you want to do the courageous thing and ask that person the question. And then secondly, depending on their answer, or maybe not dependent on their answer, you decide if you want to be around that.
It is tricky too. Like for me, I'm just thinking of, maybe a couple patients that love drama, and they're coming to me to get better, but I just know that their focus on their illness or their pain or their discomfort, they I don't know if they think I want to hear about it all the time, or but I know they're reinforcing it the more they just keep
100%.
Keep in that drama, and it seems like the more dramatic they can make it, the better. And it's like,
better.
I want you to get well. I want you to get well, but you're not going to get well if you keep focusing in that direction, right?
Totally. And the more you try to point it out to them, the more they're committed to, no, you just don't understand. Let me tell you more about this horror show.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, I know a person like that.
Let me keep coloring in this picture for you. Clearly you can't see.
Right.
Yeah.
It's tricky because sometimes you offend them too.
Yeah.
By like maybe dismissing their drama.
For sure. But then, we go right back to, I think it's the one. Yeah. Number 2, don't take anything personally. If they get offended, it's because they're offended. And they're not offended because of you. They're offended because of their dream, right? It's a projection of their own reality, their own dream, number 2 says.
Yeah, no, it's tricky too, because they can, if you don't maybe coddle them or address their drama, they'll complain, or they'll write a bad review about you or something like that.
I hear you. So I have clients like this. I think all of us in the helping profession, in the healing profession, have clients like that. And I always say to them, I just need some context. Are you looking to vent, or are you looking for solutions? Because 9 times out of 10, they just need to vent. And then my job is to go, oh my God, that must be so hard. Oh, I cannot even believe that. Oh, you're kidding. They just want to vent. You just let them know you're listening.
Are you really helping them though when you go along with
Totally.
their venting?
You are 100% helping them, because you are never off your path. And if they have clearly communicated to you that this is what they want, then 100% I'm helping them. In so many cases, and Mike, I think you know this, we do not have a place where people want to listen to us.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Don't. People want to be heard. They want to be validated for the emotions that they're experiencing, because whether or not there's a foundation in reality that you or I can see, they are feeling it. Therefore, it is true.
Fair enough.
And me trying to impose my view of the world, or my view of how they keep perpetuating this truth for themselves, does not help them. It pushes them further and further. You just got to love them, right? Matt Kahn says it. You just got to love them.
Yeah, lots of love going around. You got to love whatever arises, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah. Were you going to say something more about that?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I agree. A lot of times, sometimes I just want to say all the things, and then I feel rid of it. Like I feel like it's left me.
Yeah.
I've told you the whole story, and now, okay, now I can move on. Now I can breathe. Now I can feel like I've offloaded it.
And you know what, if you think back to any of our conversations on what it means to be an ally to marginalized communities, this is critical mass right here. Being able to listen to the pain and atrocities the suppressed people have lived, and not take on that blame or shame or guilt, because they're not saying that I've done it. unless I have literally done it. They need a place to say it, and they need acknowledgement that what they have experienced is true. Like it's a macrocosm of the microcosm, always.
I think it comes down to two things. Everybody wants to know their story has value, and everyone wants to know they matter.
Yes. I think you're right.
Yeah,
100%.
and they have been heard.
Yes.
Yes.
And the way of compassion loves them through their pain.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did not expect this conversation to go this way. This is awesome.
All about assumptions.
Right? Here I am making assumptions about the conversation. Thanks for that smackdown, Mom. You always love it when your mother's on the call, eh? I do actually love it that you're on the call, Mom.
Whatever rises, you have to say it, right? It's just, sorry.
Okay, so the fourth agreement says, always do your best. That's simply, your best is always changing from moment to moment. It will be different when you're healthy as opposed to sick. Under any circumstance, simply do your best and you will avoid self-judgment, self-abuse, and self-regret. The
Right.
only thing that I would change about the phrasing here is accept that you are always doing your best.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, I judge myself that my best is just not good enough in that moment.
Well, I think that's you repeating what you were told as a child, either by your parents, by your teachers, by society on the whole, by the church. We
Yeah.
are raised in most cases to understand that our best is not good enough.
You have to strive to improve continually.
Maya
Fair enough.
Angelou, sorry, Susan.
That's okay. Go.
Maya Angelou says, when you know better, you do better. So
Yeah.
it's kind of a case of when you're criticizing yourself for not doing your best, realize you're now aware of that you're not happy that you did it XYZ. So next time, try to do it, ABC or whatever, that try to see the potential of next time you can do it
Yeah.
differently.
Yeah.
All right. Friday at work, I was with my newest Alzheimer's patient, and she was lost. She was in a tailspin about her twins' birthday. The twins are 70, and she thought they were turning 3, and she had to go and get a cake. And no matter what I did to try and redirect her thoughts, change the program, I didn't have any success with it. And I wasn't really judging myself. I was thinking, what else could I do? How could I make this situation better? Of course, with a person with dementia, there's a chance you can't.
Well,
Anyway,
I think what the research shows about people with dementia and Alzheimer's is that all you can do is accept what they're saying is true.
well, yes, but she can't get out of that wheelchair. She
No, but
can't-
you could say, let me make a call. The Metro delivers. And then you pick up your phone and you have a pretend phone call. What kind of a
Yes.
cake did we want? Chocolate. Yes. Can I get a chocolate cake? And what are the twins' names?
Right.
It's about engaging in the narrative to help them know they are accepted.
Yes, that might have been more effective. I tried telling her she had already ordered it and she had the cake at home in the fridge.
Oh, okay.
No, I was way off base with that. It was very frustrating.
It is
Anyway,
difficult.
yes,
And obviously I am not an expert in any of that.
Yeah, it was a huge challenge. Anyway, I'm going back Wednesday. She'll
You gonna
be in
bring
a
the cake?
different place. Sorry, what?
I said, are you going to bring the cake?
No, the birthday will be long gone. So,
When I was reading this agreement, I was thinking about that quote that I shared, I don't know, maybe a month ago, that the Jeffrey Marsh spoke. And what they said was, toxic parents treat their children like adults with bad intentions. And I shared that because it smacked me so profoundly. And it really helped me to understand why often I feel like I'm maybe that program of I'm not doing my best, or that I'm not being honest, or I'm not being transparent, because I have this underlying program that I am an adult with bad intentions now. And because that colors me, it affects how I see the world too. So the assumption that, whoever I'm interacting with at their core has some of these bad intentions too. And if we really embody this, always do your best, and understand that our best changes from moment to moment, it should undo that unconscious program that I frankly think most of society is dealing with. That we're all adults with bad intentions.
yeah, I don't think that, but I think sometimes my best is just not good enough.
Mervette, your face is saying a lot, but your voice is silent.
Well, it's just the thought of like my best is just not good enough.
And
Right,
that's
like-
exactly how I felt on Friday afternoon. So how do you get yourself over that? Well, time does it. I feel fine now. I know my best is good enough.
Well, you can't fix it.
Right,
That's the best, is understand you can't fix it.
right,
Because for whatever reason, this is where she is and what she's doing.
yeah.
But isn't that always do your best? That's like you said, Michelle, that's how we're all raised. But isn't that the underlying premise of our Western society? Because we judge, if we value somebody, we think somebody's better if they make more money, they have a bigger house, they have the perfect body, they have the perfect children, the perfect job, whatever. So that it is ingrained into or it has been ingrained, and we can choose to change it personally, individually.
I think it is the core of Western society that we are all people with bad intentions. And I think that's the heart of Christianity. That's why we're all sinners and we need to be saved.
Ooh, I agree.
It is the center tenet of most world religions.
Which is
We're
sad.
awful people, and we need to learn how to be better so that we don't have to burn in the fires of hell.
But I will
Exactly.
say, they do tell you, it's not your fault you were born with original sin. You gotta lay that at the feet of Adam and Eve.
I remember having an argument with a
But you're still
minister.
guilty of it, whether it's
Wow.
your fault or not.
Fair enough.
Like, no wonder
ba-
we're all codependent, for Christ's sake. We're being held accountable for something that happened thousands and thousands and thousands of mythological years ago.
And a
Someone
baby is
else.
not born in sin. A baby is not born in sin. A baby is not full of sin when it comes here and has to be saved, and then grows up and is full of that sin still. Yeah.
Many
Well, the sin is gone if you've been baptized, dear.
Christian
well,
organizations
yeah.
will tell you that babies are born full of sin.
Yeah.
I know I had this argument with a minister at the church I attended. So it's just the whole concept of sin is something I don't
It's
buy
the
into
core
anymore.
At the heart of, I wouldn't even say North American, I'm going to actually say of all colonialism, that we are horrible people with bad intentions who have to do better than our base nature.
I think we're
You
all
know-
doing the best we can at our level
Yes.
of consciousness, and we
Speak it,
always are.
And that's
Ne-
the key, Mike, at our level of consciousness.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I like what Abraham says too, is there are no mistakes and it's never done. And because it's never done, there are no mistakes. So,
Right.
you know, you just keep evolving and,
Right.
and maybe the suffering, you know, like we put ourselves through so much suffering when we start feeling guilty and shamed and maybe think, well, we did something wrong or we didn't do our best here. That suffering, I think, is part of our awakening. Like it helps us wake up to really who we really are. And I think it's all part of the duality here that we're going through right now.
The suffering is part of the duality. It's the heart of duality,
Yeah.
right? Like duality tells us we could do something different.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's the awareness, and all these 4 agreements, you know, they take a lot of awareness to like respond instead of like, you know, reacting all the time and like
Yeah.
going off on these mind tangents. And I think a big part of it too, this even goes along with what Susan was saying, is you know, this memory, like these memories we have and the story we tell, and you know, if we didn't have memory, it would be totally different. Like if you just lived in the really right in the present moment now. But I guess that's not what we're supposed to do at this type of reality. Like we're supposed to play out the human story and the duality.
I guess so.
I guess so.
But awareness is a key part. As you start becoming more aware and you know, evolving your level of consciousness, you can do better, and you can choose with your free will more loving actions and thoughts and emails. You could, you know, delete something and send a different email,
Yeah.
you know, and you try to like think where these people are, you know, coming from, or just make more loving choices.
Which is what you said you did this week, right, Mervette? You erased a text before sending.
Yeah. I was gonna add to this about the, you know, you're always doing your best and like the subconscious programming or whatever. Like I've been going into that too, you know, and how the subconscious programming, we don't even realize it, you know, even like a lot to do around money, and money is a big one for a lot of people. But even somebody else was bringing up the demonization of people who are rich and how, you know, that's corrupt.
Mhm.
You know, if you have millions of dollars, there's corruption there, right? Like
Mhm.
and so like they made an association, you know, and the layers of, and I'm just taking this one thing, let alone health, let alone, you know, like all the other love and like all of those things. There's so many topics and layers and layers and layers and layers and layers and layers of programming that are put there to keep you from not easily accessing those things, right? Like, oh, everybody gets sick and everybody, or go back to the money thing, right? Like money doesn't grow on trees and only the top elite people have that, and you'd end up being corrupt anyways, and like all of the things that have to do with money and, you know, how it stops you from getting there. And then same with health or fertility or love or whatever, and all of the programming that comes with that, and how you, if you just like literally and push that all aside and pretend you're brand new to the whole entire situation, how would you go forward if you could, you know, if you thought, oh, and I'll never hurt anybody and I'll never, you know, like I just want whatever, like what do you want, and what's stopping you from getting it? It was a really, really interesting juicy conversation to kind of get into. But yeah, the programming is really like deprogramming ourselves or unprogramming ourselves or reprogramming ourselves to be more in alignment with what you want.
Absolutely. And I just want to say, because we're right here in this moment and you guys, you know me, if we're so willing to accept unconscious programming as a truth, why can't we apply that same unconscious programming to the idea that we're all racist? It is an unconscious thing, and we don't know it because it's unconscious.
Well, we consciously don't want to be that or labeled as
And
that. So yeah.
Consciously don't want to know that we are racist. You
Well,
have
I agree with that.
programs happening at the same time. I just listened to the most important podcast I will probably ever listen to in my entire life, which I've linked to on Facebook, and I encourage you to listen to it. If you're not a podcast listener, the transcript is available on the link. Read it. It is the most important conversation that is not happening anywhere. And it's really tragic. And if we want to move forward in the efforts of reconciliation with our Indigenous people, with people of color, if we want our whiteness to stop defining us, this is the way forward.
Maybe we should have that conversation here then. Let's open it up.
We do have that conversation here. We had it a couple weeks ago where one of the people
Okay.
who is on that podcast, Resma McKenna, we were discussing his work, My Grandmother's Hands, which is
Oh, yes. I think I remember that.
right here.
Yeah.
Listen to the podcast. Listen to the podcast. Because if we're willing to believe that we have unconscious programming that's affecting our ability to receive money, if we're
We
willing
have
to believe
so much.
that we have unconscious programs that are affecting our ability to have love, if
Yeah.
we're willing to believe that we have unconscious programs that affect our ability to be happy, why on earth would we deny that we have unconscious programs that make us racist? Like, that's just so silly.
We have so much subconscious programming that we don't even
System.
realize
It's
it.
how
Yeah.
we're created. And like a friend of mine says, you're in the lake. We're all in the lake. Of course, we don't know we're wet because we're all in the lake.
Yeah.
Does the fish know it's wet? No, the fish doesn't know. Anyway, I'm not going down this hole today because we're out of time. But what I do want to do is take a moment to go back to the agreements. We'll take a quick look at all four of them one more time, and I'll open the floor to see if anybody has any last thoughts to share. Okay? Okay. First, be impeccable with your word. Speak with integrity. Say only what you mean. Avoid using the word to speak against yourself or to gossip about others. Use the power of your word in direction of truth and love. Number 2, do not take anything personally. Nothing others do is because of you. What others say and do is a projection of their own reality, their own dream. When you are immune to the opinions and actions of others, you won't be the victim of needless suffering. Number 3, don't make assumptions. Find the courage to ask questions and express what you really want. Communicate with others as clearly as you can to avoid misunderstandings, sadness, and drama. With just this one agreement, you can completely transform your life. And number 4, always do your best. Your best is always changing from moment to moment. It will be different when you are healthy as opposed to sick. Under any circumstance, simply do your best to avoid self-judgment, self-abuse, and regret. Any final thoughts, friends?
Kind of each one is simple words. The highlight, the bold is each simple, but it's kind of funny how just those few simple words can be so challenging to do. But they certainly are beautiful, beautiful concepts to try to live by.
It is. And, you know, I'll tell you, it's a beautiful book. It's only about 100 pages. And if you haven't read it, I would encourage you to. It's available widely, including on the internet. So I would encourage you to read it if you haven't. It's really important work.
We have 2 copies in our house.
Ah.
Phil had his and I bought my own.
So you know how great this work is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just feel like we can just keep working at it and keep getting better and reviewing it and just being more aware of your thoughts, your feelings, than what words come out of your mouth. And we have free will to make more loving choices.
Amen.
Yes.
More loving choices for ourselves and for others.
Yeah, I agree.
All we need is love. Da, 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 da. All you need is love. All you need is love. Were you going to say something, Mermet?
I would
Is all you
say,
need.
I was gonna say the second one changed everything for me. When I think your best bet is really just to work on one at a time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because if you take all of them, you forget and things get muddled, and then you don't think of it until afterwards, or it's too many things. And even though it's only 4, it really is too many things at once. But when you really perfect one of them, then you become really super conscious of it. And when the time comes that you already are taking it on a subconscious level, like don't take anything personally and realize that's their crap, not mine, and they're reacting from their space, that to me now is a subconscious thing. Right. So as I now work on be impeccable with my word, like I don't need to consciously think of other people reacting to me and then me taking that in. That's so that's already subconscious. So I would suggest work on one thing at a time, and then you have a higher success rate of of becoming really good at integrating all of those things.
And to be gentle with you as you work through it, because it is not easy to recondition your whole self. And, Mervet, you said once you've perfected that one, it's kind of an interesting idea, right? Because you know what I think about perfection. It's not an actual thing. It's not an endpoint. And as you've done all that you can with the don't take things personally, once you've got it in your subconscious, and then you move on to the not making assumptions, and then you're like, oh shit, look at all this stuff I'm still taking personally, right? Because it's layers.
Oh yeah.
It's layers and layers, and you will just, it's continuous. The pursuit of perfection is continuous.
For sure.
It's not an end goal. Yeah.
The imperfection is perfect.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Perfectly imperfect.
And instead of the pursuit of perfection, I prefer the pursuit of love.
The pursuit of love. Isn't that beautiful?
Like loving yourself and loving others would then there's no judgment. Perfection has judgment in it, in my opinion.
Beautiful.
Speaking as a former recovering perfectionist.
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. All right, my friends, I am going to mute us all because honestly, I think that was just the perfect note to end on. And we will go over now to share our affirmation of hope so that we can all have a beautiful, love-filled week. Hope, fragile, luminous, and buoyant, fill me now. Bring your gifts of optimism, faith, and positivity. Grow strong within me today and every day. Increase my connection with those around me. Balance my moods with a lightness of being and touch all those I meet with blessings. Hope, fragile, luminous, and buoyant, fill me now. Humble and expand my heart with openness, making me compassionate, relaxed, and kind, aware of the many blessings I have each day, making of me a better, more human person. Hope is a gift that passes through me to others. And so it is.